Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video tutorial. This will be the 7th board in the pawn opening section from Dubious Positions and how to attack them. It will also be the second last video in the series. So without further ado, let us begin. Pawn opening, and instead of the thundering cannon defense, black would play p7 plus 1 to counter with the pawn p7 plus 1. Now this is another major opening system in Xiangqi, whereby both colors refuse to reveal their intentions very early on. So this is a very subtle opening and many things can go on. Red decides to play h8 plus 7 and black will copy move for move, and red will play r9 plus 1, which is so far okay. Now so far as everything is good, but black will decide to play h7 plus 6 to move his horse to the riverbank. Now this would be the dubious move and would have major consequences. Now the main idea behind this move is that black would first move the horse to the riverbank, prevent h7 plus 6 from happening, and if r9 equals to 4, black would protect the horse and then play c2 equals to 6 to develop material. Now this is not a good move. Usually e3 plus 5 or h2 plus 3 for the screen horse defense is played for a relatively more stable and sound formation. So red will seize the opportunity and attack the horse, and this is what black had planned all along. He had hoped to build a fortress along the riverbank, preparing to play c2 equals to 6 to attack the chariot, to resist red's attack and hopefully develop material on his right flank. Unfortunately, it will be too early to do so because black had not consolidated his defense at the moment. Now if he had chosen to play h6 plus 7, this would also be a bad move because the horse would not have entered enemy territory alone, and too many moves have been used to move the horse at the expense of underdevelopment of the other pieces. Red would simply play r4 plus 5, threatening to capture the central pawn, and then play h2 plus 3 to block the horse. This horse would have penetrated alone and it would be a target of attack, whereas red could take his time to maneuver his material, and usually black would find himself in trouble a few moves later. So protecting the horse, and this would be the move, the brilliant move that red had installed for black. By offering a trade of pawns, if black captured, the horse would be lost. So black stuck to his plans, played c2 equals to 6 to attack the chariot, but he cannot succeed. Now if he chose to play h6 plus 7, the horse would be threatening the chariot, thus the chariot would move and the horse would be annihilated. There will be not many good spaces for it to move further. So c2 equals to 6, and this is when red will play c2 equals to 4 to block. Now this would be the position of discussion for this board. So at this point in time there are two major counters. The first will be h6 plus 7, the next will be c6 plus 5. But before we continue, let us see if h6 plus 5 was possible, because with h6 plus 5, the horse will be attacking the chariot and the horse, and the cannon will also be attacking the chariot. Would this be feasible? Red would simply maneuver the play c4 equals to 5, and now red would instead threaten to capture the cannon, and the horse would capture the black horse. This horse cannot move, otherwise this would be a check. So black can only play c6 equals to 5 to protect the horse, but red would simply capture the central pawn, placing black in a dilemma. Now if the cannon moved away, or if black moved an advisor, the horse would be lost. Red will gain material. So that is why h6 plus 5 is not viable. h6 plus 4 is not viable either, because red will simply capture the advisor, threatening to capture the chariot. So a possible line, let's say if this were also, let's say if this captured, this would be a check, and red gains material. Last but not least, c6 equals to 7 is not viable either, because red would now play h6 plus 7, h2 plus 1, c7 plus 1. If he played p7 plus 1, again red will capture the advisor, threatening the chariot. If this were done, check, black loses a lot of material. So c7 plus 3, red will now threaten the cannon. Black will be forced to retreat, and this cannon will now be captured because it cannot move here. The only place that it can move will be over here, and this will be a very vulnerable position. Black's cannon is deployed recklessly, and he would have trouble trying to save this cannon, and this would be also done at the expense of underdevelopment of the other pieces. So that is why h6 plus 5, h6 plus 4, and c6 equals to 7 would not be viable. So let us go to variation A, h6 plus 7. Now, red will counter with h3, c4 equals to 3, thus threatening the cannon, and then pushing the pawn across the river. Now this is a very threatening pawn so early in the game. Black can only play c8 plus 3. If he played c8 equals to 9, red would play e3 plus 1 or h2 plus 1, and again black would be prepared to threaten the horse and then push p1 plus 1 to threaten the cannon. Again, black would face the dilemma of losing material. r4 plus 2, trade of horses. At this point in time, red would have gone in across river pawn. This advantage is huge and very significant, and once the pawn rushes across, black could be in all sorts of trouble. So this would be variation A. Now in variation B, c6 plus 5, red accepts the trade of cannons, but in doing so, you can see that red had already made so many more moves than black, and there's still the threat of the pawn crossing the river. So black would have to deal with this immediate issue, but his formation will become greatly weakened. Black would have to use up several moves later on in the game to try to resolve this poor positioning, and he will still fall behind in terms of development of the major pieces. r2 h2 plus 3, r1 plus 2, threatening the cannon, h6 minus 7, h6 plus 8 to attack the horse, and red will fall further behind in the development of the pieces, and there are many things that red can do now. He could attack this intersection, horse, etc., and gain material, and this horse is also ready to go. There are many lines of development, and red can easily defend if need be according to the situation. So it is very obvious that red would have a huge advantage by this point in time, and should be able to win the game without if nothing bad happens. Now the main reason behind black's plight would be the fact that he had pushed the horse too early. Now this board is an extremely good lesson on the importance of providing backup for your pieces as they advance into enemy territory, and it also shows that it is also a good example on demonstrating why using the horse to attack so early in the game is usually not as good as using the cannon or the chariot, because it is there are many pieces. It will be more congested and vulnerable to attack. Now let us view the game from the eyes of black. Pawn versus pawn opening. proper horses, R9 plus 1. Dubious move. Red immediately attacks. Black tries to form a formation on the a fortress, on the riverbank. P3 plus 1. Brilliant. Attacks the cannon, the chariot, but red has already anticipated and was ready for black's attack. Variation A, H6 plus 7. Before we continue, H6 plus 5 is not viable because red will deliver a check and gain material. Variation C, H6 plus 4 is not viable either because of this very powerful move. C6 equals to 7 would also be similar. This cannon will be in trouble. Again, if P7 plus 1, C4 plus 7. To 2, black's cannon will have trouble. It can only move here, the only safe intersection, but even so, it will be still in harm's way, so red can simply play R4 equals to 3 to capture it. So variation A, H6 plus 7. Red blocks again, a very light and agile move to limit the movement of the horse. So A4 plus 5, otherwise the cannon is lost. P3 plus 1, this pawn will now become a menace. And C8 plus 3, if C equals to 9, black can play E5, E3 plus 1, the chariot will be safe, and this cannon will be threatened with P1 plus 1. Of course, red will play R4 plus 2 to dislodge the horse first, and there's always the option of P1 plus 1. 4 plus 3, a trade of chariots, but after trade of horses, but after trading horses, this pawn will become the factor, the main factor in red's victory. Last but not least, variation B, R4 plus 1, black accepts the cannon trade, and red will grow from strength to strength. Black's formation is still in shambles. By the 8th ply, he'd only make a few very poor moves. Red develops his material, and as can be seen, red has gone from strength to strength. So I hope you've enjoyed this very instructive video showing the importance of not using one piece to penetrate the enemy territory so early without any backup. So if you like the work that I've been doing, please do subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you.